Hello everyone and welcome to Rewind, the retro video game show coming to you live every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern, except for today we're coming to you at 11 a.m. Eastern right here on the AWS for Games channels on YouTube and Twitch. Once again, I know that you're asked often to go ahead and like and subscribe and hit those alert buttons, but if you could, that would be great. That really helps the channel and you'll be alerted to when we have new content coming to you live pretty much every Friday afternoon, once again on YouTube and Twitch. My name is Chris Melissinos. I'm the principal evangelist for video games here at AWS. And on this episode of Rewind, we're going to ease into the holiday break by kicking back and playing one of the greatest holiday-themed games ever made, Sega's Christmas NiGHTS Into Dreams. Now, rather than giving you a complete breakdown of how this game came into existence, we'll just discuss it while we're playing through the game, which is a short game, so this episode may be a bit shorter than other episodes of Rewind, but I cannot think of a better holiday-themed game to get us in the holiday mood than Christmas NiGHTS, other than this amazing holiday-themed Christmas sweater from my good friend, my brother, Scott Hawkins over at Nintendo. So Scott, thank you so much, buddy, for sending this to me. It is a wonderful, wonderful sweater. Of course, I've got some green getting keyed out of this sweater, so you can't see, you know, Luigi's cap there very well, but there you go. So Scott, thank you so much, buddy, for sending this over. So we're going to go ahead and jump straight over to the 8-bit living room, talk about Christmas NiGHTS, play through it, and of course, if you have any Christmas or holiday-themed games that you remember when you were growing up as a kid, make sure you go ahead and let me know in the chat, and maybe we'll stop at NiGHTS, and if I have some of those games in my catalog, we can pop a couple up and play. But this is about Christmas NiGHTS Into Dreams, so let's head on over to the 8-bit living room, fire it up, and learn all about this incredible holiday-themed video game. Here we go. All right. So, I am going to go ahead and fire up this game here. Let me go ahead and reduce that music a little bit. And let's go ahead and fire up Christmas NiGHTS Into Dreams. This game, I get this game out every holiday season to go ahead and play because it really is the ultimate expression of a Christmas game. I mean, just listen to the music here. Listen to the opening.
Christmas decorations.
I'll drink some of my holiday tea while we're settling in.
And people are looking for presents for their loved ones.
It's still a little chilly outside. Yep, it's still snowing here.
Among them are Elliot and Clarence.
We have our Wookiee Life Day picture up on the wall here.
They all look rushed.
Or I should say, yeah, right over here.
That gentleman, that lady, that old man. Why do they have to walk that fast?
Why do they have to walk that fast?
In the crowd, they feel something important is missing. The streets look so beautiful. This is the most cheerful time of the year. But it seems like nobody is paying any attention to something important. Walking down the street, they find themselves in the middle of Twin Seeds City, facing the mammoth Twin Seeds Tower. It is decorated beautifully, and the tower appears as one huge Christmas tree. However, they realize what is missing from the Christmas spirit.
What could
One
that
thing
be?
nobody seems to notice. There is no shiny star atop the gigantic
Oh, no.
Christmas tree. Without it, the tree is incomplete.
It is incomplete. I mean, I don't know of another game that gives all of the Christmassy winter holiday vibes than this. I mean, there are levels, right? Like in Mario 64 and, well, a whole variety of games, right, that have snow-themed or holiday-themed levels. But as a standalone game, this one's amazing. Of course, there are a ton of Flash games and things like that. Well, maybe we'll go ahead and do some of those in the wintertime and kind of look through some of those games. But as a Christmas-themed game, this one really does stand alone. So while it's playing through a little bit of the demo there, we'll talk a bit about NiGHTS. So I'm just actually going to Wikipedia for the plot synopsis of this. So let's talk about NiGHTS. So every night, all human dreams are played out in Nightopia and Nightmare, two parts of the dream world. In Nightopia, distinct aspects of dreamers' personalities are represented by luminous colored spheres known as Idea. IDEYA. The evil ruler of Nightmare, Wiseman the Wicked, is stealing this dream energy from sleeping visitors in order to gather power and take control of Nightopia and eventually the real world. To achieve this, he creates 5 beings called the Nightmaren, jester-like, flight-capable beings, which include Jackie, Claus, Gulpo, Gilwing, and Puffy, as well as many minor Maren. He also creates 2 level 1 Nightmaren, Knights and Riela. However, Knights rebels against Wiseman's plans and is punished by being imprisoned inside an Idea Palace, which is a container for the dreamer's idea. Okay. One day, Elliot Edwards and Clara Sinclair, 2 teenagers from this city of Twin Seeds, go through failures. Elliot, a basketball player, is challenged by a group of older students and suffers a humiliating defeat on the court. Clarice, a singer, is overcome by stage fright when auditioning for judges, which causes her to lose all hope of getting the role. When they go to sleep that night, both Elliot and Clarice suffer nightmares that replay the events. They escape into Nightopia and find that they both possess the rare red Idea of Courage, the only type that Wiseman cannot steal. Elliot and Clarice release Knights, who tells them about dreams and Wiseman and his plans. The 3 begin a journey to stop Wiseman and restore peace to Nightopia. When they defeat Wiseman and Riela, peace is returned to Nightopia and the world of Nightmare is suppressed. So that's the plot. Now, basically, what NiGHTS, the core game, is, it's a time attack or a racing type of game where you have to basically navigate these courses in kind of not, well, they are fixed path 3D environments, but they also have branching paths within them. So you have to navigate these and pick up these idea and then take them to the idea container. When you fill them up, you've basically cleared a lap or a level. After 4 levels, you go on to defeat one of the bosses, right? And just a really fun game, and we'll talk a little bit about its development and kind of why Sega went ahead and did this. But the Christmas version, which is the one that we're playing right now, is a short version. It's a single level, and it was released basically for free as a giveaway to people that either registered their Saturn or they got Next Generation magazine, or it was a pack-in for things like Daytona USA, the Championship Circuit Edition, And so basically, they took the first level of the NiGHTS game and turned it into a spectacular Christmas-themed Wonderland, right? Which we're going to go ahead and play through right now. And then we'll talk a little bit about the how time plays an element into this and the date plays an element into this. You notice it has today's date, 11:09 right here on the East Coast, 12/22/2023. That's because the game actually changes themes and characters in it based on the time and date. And we'll go ahead and talk about that a little bit as well. But first, let's go ahead and try to get through a run and see how well I do with it. I'm not terribly good at this game. I typically rate C's, every time I play, but we'll see how it goes. So, all right, let me take another sip of my tea. As you may also hear, I'm got a little bit of a holiday cold brewing here, so my voice tends to get a little deeper when that happens. So, whereas my wife says, this radio voice. And yeah, so that's where we are. All right, let me get a little sip of this. All right, and let's go ahead and jump into some Nights into Dreams Christmas Nights. All right, here we go. One of the cool things about the game, too, is when you start and you jump in here, we'll go ahead and load up Nights there. So you've got the Christmas dream that you can jump into, your Christmas presents, which I'll go ahead and open here. So what you wind up doing is, as you go ahead and complete different, laps and get better ratings, you get turns in kind of like a matching card game. And when you create a match of, a pair in the matching card game, it unlocks these presents. So one of the presents, for example, is like, in the NiGHTS Museum, you get access to all of this artwork that you have to unlock. So here's a bunch of Elliot artwork that happens in there. And so you get to go through concept art and scenes from the original game, which is pretty cool. And that's the Elliot loop in that artwork. And so, you have an incentive to go back and keep playing the same single level over and over because you want to unlock all the Christmas presents, right? All right, so let's go ahead and jump in and play a level here and see how this goes. All right, Christmas Dream. We'll start off with Claris. And here she goes. Now, the cool thing is that if you don't have access to a Sega Saturn, or you don't do, emulation, those sorts of things, you can purchase the Nights into Dreams game on Steam to play on your modern PC. And I believe you can unlock the Christmas NiGHTS stages in that version. I have that version as well. But I'm playing on an emulator here. Oh, there is one of the creatures that you can kind of unlock. All right, so here's the idea container. You can see I've filled up about half of it. And what I want to do is make my way through these obstacles as fast as I can and get through this loop and collect more of these ideas. Now, what you can do is you can either touch those ideas to collect them, or as you can see as I'm looping here, that star trail that goes behind it, if you complete a full loop, it'll take any objects that are caught in the loop and basically suck them up into your collection. I think this is probably, let's see, this may be a C. Yep, C. For some reason, and I can never really do better than a C on this game. Because I'm too busy exploring everything and I don't treat it as a race. I just treat it as like a nice fly-through. But yeah, look at how lovely this game is, just from a themed perspective. And you can see, you can move vertically and, in this to go and explore kind of different areas. So there was a present that had all these ideas in it, and that should fill up the meter. Right, so now I don't need to to worry about collecting anymore. I can just try to speed to the end, which you can see now I'm bouncing off of all the objects in the environment, which is gonna makes it difficult to finish the level. All right, let me see. Where are we here? C. Yes, it didn't matter. Didn't matter that I collected that extra one. All right, let's jump through 3 here and go create some loops. There's an enemy there, and there's another enemy here that we don't want to hit. Okay, let's see. Now, if I think... Yeah, you see, I hit that one horn, and it basically threw me into the foreground. Now I've got this ribbon behind me, and I can score some extra points by making these different loops. And let's go get one of these nightmares. And if you go ahead and basically get through all of the rings in a particular sequence, it gives you extra points as well. But I didn't collect really any ideas on that run. So now I have to hurry up and see if I can do this again. Now, there's a timer that clocks down, and basically what happens is if that timer hits 0, you transform from Knights back into the character that you chose. In this case, it'd be Claris. And then you have to run back to that the starting gate to turn back into Knights before the alarm clock gets you and then wakes you up from your dream, which you don't want. You don't want. So we have 18 seconds left. Let's see, am I going to be able to do it? I might not even have enough ideas to unlock it. So let's see. Oh, shoot. Come on. Oh, I do. All right, here we go. It's a race now, right to the beginning. Come on. Nope. Oh, there we go. And I think it's right up here at the top of the hill. Oh, my gosh. All right, let's go. Let's go. No, I had actually quite a bit of ways to go. Okay, that arrow is pointing me to where the starting line is, or the starting gate is. All right, so what's really interesting about this game, you know, at the time that the Sega Saturn was released, it really didn't... I know I got an F on that one. It was not the... Well, let's see. On paper, yes, it was more technically impressive than the PlayStation, but it was ridiculously difficult to actually develop for developers in that era, because they had not been used to dealing with multi-processor systems before, and especially systems that also did some really wonky things, like using quads for polygons instead of tris, right? So basically a 4-sided polygon to make graphics versus a triangle, which is the way most developers knew how to create 3D models. And so they had to learn a whole bunch of different things to... Oh, there we go. I don't need any more. So they had to learn a bunch of different techniques to make the Saturn, really to get all the performance they could out of the Sega Saturn. And so 3D, when, you know, at that time, the Saturn's, you know, 3D games just weren't as visually impressive as the PlayStation. So there was a concern that, hey, could it actually even do, you know, these big 3D games? On top of that, the N64 had released, and they had Mario 64. So, you know, there was going to be a Sonic game that that was designed to rival, right, or stand up and compete with the with Mario 64. They never went ahead and released this, and so Yuji Naka created this whole environment and characters and storyline for Knights, and said, hey, look, you know, we can do 3D just as well as anybody else. You can fly along all these different paths, and you can, you know, explore this environment. And there's all these really interesting systems in there, like something called the A-Life system, which is how the creatures in NiGHTopia react to how you interact with them. And while beautiful, it clearly wasn't the same open world type of environment that we saw with, again, the N64 and games that came out on PlayStation stuff. But this stands apart really from any other type of game on any of those systems, because, I mean, it's just, I don't know, it is a twist or a take on a racing genre, on a collecting kind of environment that is just completely unique to the Saturn. Now, when I say it's unique to the Saturn, obviously it's not anymore, since you can go get it and download it on Steam. And there was a sequel that came out in 2007, I believe it was, on the Wii, that basically, now had high resolution graphics and more complex environments and kind of built on the same story. But that was more kind of an open world adventure that also had these kind of, again, racing and collecting levels that the original NiGHTS had. But again, this one stands apart from any other game like it, I think, on any of those systems. Truly a unique take on those genres. Now, the other thing too that NiGHTS into Dreams did, the original NiGHTS game, right? I'm sorry. The NiGHTS into Dreams game, this is the Christmas NiGHTS into Dreams game. So the NiGHTS into Dreams game was introduced alongside of a controller, which was called the Saturn 3D controller. So it basically had an analog stick on there and this round pad. I don't have mine with me here in the studio. It was a 6-button with 2 triggers on it, but it was the first time we had a real analog pad for these games, and the idea behind it was to give you more fluid control in these 3D spaces. And so they built on this design and concept when the Dreamcast was released. So if you look at the Dreamcast controller next to that, the Saturn 3D controller, they share a lot of design aesthetics and kind of shape, right, core shape to them. And it just made it a whole lot more playable, because in the game you can go ahead and use the controller to go ahead and draw certain patterns in the sky when you have a ribbon behind you, as you can see NiGHTS does right now. And so Sega was constantly innovating and constantly trying to figure out how to make the best and unique experiences for their platforms. And that's a hallmark, really, of the Sega history, right? The Sega systems throughout their, their hardware days. Always, not even just their hardware days, software days as well. Always pushing the bounds of what games are, types of quirky games could be. Really, really cool. All right, so let's see if I collected any... and let's see, am I going to be able to open any presents? Okay, so I have 4 chances to match up the last 2. So there's Claris, and now I've got 3 more chances, I believe. Okay, Claris is opened. Is it going to let me go back? Yes. All right. So now I've got 3 more chances to find pairs. Okay, that's not it. Oh. Yeah. Once you go ahead and pick that tile, it's going to make me try again. I think I lost it. I'm not going to even let me... Yeah, I'm not even going to be able to go in and pick again. So I'm going to have to go ahead and play another loop. All right, but before we do that, let's talk a bit about... I mentioned the time and the clock. So let's see. So this was, like I said, this was a free game that was given out and shipped to people. I think there was literally like 100, maybe not even 100,000 copies that were ever released. So if you find one, hang on to it, keep it, well, because they are getting more difficult to find. So, all right, there are 25 unlockable Christmas presents in Christmas NiGHTS. Most are achieved by beating the stage and playing a quick tile matching game. But there are others that are unlocked based upon the date that you are playing. So, I'm not going to talk about all the presents yet, but let's talk about some of the clock features. So according to the folks over at SegaRetro.org, the visuals of Christmas nights change slightly depending on the time indicated by the Saturn's internal clock. The period between November and February are the most active part of the year, with scenery changing almost at an hourly rate. So note that foreground objects only seem to change when you're close to the hour, otherwise the game will default to snow. So if the time is at basically midnight, the background will be moon, hearts will be falling objects in the background. If it's 1 o'clock, moon and snow. 6 a.m., northern lights and snow. 7 a.m., sun and snow. 8 a.m., sun and moons. 9 or 10 o'clock, sun and snow. At noon, it's a rainbow and purple gems. At 1 o'clock, it's sun and snow. At 3 o'clock, it's sun and candy. At 4 o'clock, it's sun and snow. At 6 p.m., it is moon and sparkles. At 7, it's moon and snow. At 9 p.m., it's moon and stars. And at 10, it is moon and snow. So we're going to be, we're not going to make it to, I don't know, maybe we'll make it to the top of the hour on this to see what's changed. But based on the time of day, it will go in and change elements in there to constantly, keep giving you little gifts, basically, right, as you go ahead and play Nights into Dream. Let's see. Do we have any other information about that? Let's see. I know that the Christmas Nights into Dreams game, also, depending on the time of year that you're playing, it changes from, like, Christmas nights. So if it's not played over the winter months, Christmas Nights defaults to Nights Limited Edition and essentially acts as just a no-frills demo. Between November and January, it's Winter Nights, and in December, it's Christmas Nights, which is really awesome. And I think there is another one about on New Year's Day, there's a change at the title screen. The children wear different outfits. And on April Fool's Day, users can play as Rila instead of Knights, and Rila can be played at any point after the latter event is seen. Really, really cool. They packed all of this into a free game designed to get people excited about the 3D capabilities of the Sega Saturn and to increase sales for the console. And it worked, right? It really got this into the hands of more people. So they could go in and see the capabilities, and then people would go and buy the original version of Nights to continue on the game. What's the other piece in here? Christmas Nights is Christmas-themed. Graphics and music have been replaced with winter-esque versions of the original stage, but only in winter. The idea captures are in giant floating Christmas trees. Nights wears red attire rather than purple, and gameplay is otherwise identical. And that is true. All right, let's go ahead and do another run and see if we can open up a few more tiles and see what other goodies and gifts await us. And this time we'll go and take a run with Elliot. And so the difference here is that in the boss stage, I believe they're mirrored. So Elliot's will probably be attacking from the right, whereas Claris's, boss was attacking from the left. Gilwing, the boss there. So do you remember playing Christmas Nights? Do you remember playing the original Nights? Did you get it if you had a Saturn? Let me know in the comments if you did. All right, so let's drop those in idea container. And then, so you can use your dash, if you can control it, to knock out some of those enemies. All right, let's go ahead and make our way around here. All right, so the first run is always the shortest one, and then you can see they increase in length and they increase in complexity. Sometimes when enemies grab you like that, they basically throw you off in a direction you didn't want to move, and that messes up your timing. And I should have enough ideas here now. Yep, and so we'll just go ahead and speed our way back to the beginning. and you hear that whistling. Those are the creatures living in NiGHTopia that are calling to you. And the thing is, if you, let's see, come on, if you accidentally catch them in a loop, you'll frighten them and kind of make them not vanish, but they kind of exit the scene. And I believe it does something to affect you heard that whistle. That was one of them getting scared. It affects where they are in the environment and how they react to you going by. So there is this whole A-life system, we'll read about that in a minute, that governs how the characters respond to you in NiGHTopia. Let's see, I missed all of those because I'm terrible. And let's see, I'll grab this one here. And let's see if we can make it back. Let's see what our score is going to be. Okay, so it's telling me gate 2 is there. Maybe that's a B. It's probably a C. Yeah, really difficult. I'm not, like I said, I love playing Christmas Nights just because it's such a joyous game to play. And, you know, it just, like I said, really just puts you in a holiday mood, and you crank up this music. Let's turn up a little bit there. Ah, it's so good. So good. Just brings all the warm feelings back. Oh, he's going to throw me out of the way. Okay, look, I mentioned branching paths. So if you make it up to the top here, now all of a sudden you are on a different path than you were by kind of coasting around the bottom here. Do I have any more? Let me see. I'm actually going backwards to go try to... Come on, did I have any more? I think so, yeah. All right, so bonus time start. Let's just race as fast as we can back to the beginning. See, I was going through the loops there, and one of the enemies got a hold of me and is throwing me off course, and that just basically butchers your timing. See, I'm not on... Oh, I am on the second run. Yeah, I didn't mean to do that. Yeah, and so you have things like the wind and stuff that are affecting how fast you can move around different paths. But there's a lot to it. You know, it's more than just racing in a you know, a circle path to go ahead and try to beat those lap scores. It's yeah, let's see. I hope I didn't my connection didn't crater. I see my bitrate dropped all of a sudden on Twitch. So let's see. All right, here we go. Nights is the game of the season. I am doing well. Stone Cold, what is it? Stone Cold Pests. Thank you for popping in here. Yes, this is the game of the season. Not, you know, you don't have to just play it during the holidays, but damn it, if it doesn't get you into the holiday mood, I don't know what game would. You know, maybe Christmas Lemmings, but even there, it's not the same thing. This is the ultimate holiday game to play. And okay, now I gotta make it all the way back because I was taking too much time exploring different parts of the level. Let me see, am I gonna get back in time? 4, 3, 2, 1. No, shoot. Oh, fell off right there. Damn. Okay. Oh, wait, there's one of the eggs. Yep, yeah, we went ahead and hatched him open there. Oh, that's the big ol' F. That is the big ol' F. All right, let's go ahead and now fight Gillwing. Yep, yeah, it's now attacking from the right. And I think Claris, again, attacks from the left. So they mirror those two, so you can play as both. But just look at how awesome it is. You know? And look, this is a time when game developers were trying to figure out what 3D games were, how to go ahead and make them effectively, moving from, you know, mostly 2D games on the 16-bit era of consoles. And as I mentioned, there's these peculiarities about the Sega Saturn multiprocessor. You really had to understand how to orchestrate and divide your workload between all the different processors in the system. It used quads instead of tries, as I mentioned. So it was a whole different way to construct the art. It was not the same way that they were doing it on other platforms at the time. And you are right, the game was a system seller. This was, there we go. We got the star for the top of the tree. It was a system seller.
With the help of Knights,
let's hear.
Elliot and Claris found the star, shining in 7 colors. But the entire story was a dream.
Entire story
What
wasn't.
was that star? They don't talk about the dream they saw. But there is one thing both of them know. Something special will happen after they embark on an adventure with Knights.
Oh no, Elliot. What's gonna happen there? Huh?
They start feeling cheerful again.
Well, they don't look cheerful. That's right, because Elliot fell.
And now, happiness, like the light of a small candle, starts filling the city once again.
So
Everything is
being
okay
cheerful is
now.
just laughing at Elliot for cratering himself.
Give a star of happiness to the heart of these brave children. Give a star of happiness to the heart of everyone.
Merry Christmas! This game, man, I tell you, it does. It gets you all the feels. All the feels. All right, so now we played through Claris and Elliot. Let's see what happens. Let's see. Okay, here's the other thing, too. In this era, they were doing some really awesome things with music and, themes around their games. We just don't... This is something Sega did better than most every other company. Just incredible music that mashed up all of these different genres, right, into game soundtracks, from jazz to a cappella to just wacky, awesome music like Daytona, Blue Skies, and Let's Go Away. Incredible songs, right? Listening to the theme here being done as an a cappella rendition. Awesome, right? We just don't get that very much in games anymore. Kind of reminds me a bit of, and I was having this discussion the other day about TV commercials in the 1980s, right? There was just something about commercials in the 80s. Everything had an awesome jingle. Everything had kind of like an awesome setup to it. We just don't get commercials like that. I mean, literally every product had a musical jingle to it, right? Really, really awesome. Let's see. You were saying here in the chat, too bad Sega didn't try a sequel to Moonwalk for the Genesis on the Genesis. Oh, on the Saturn. It would have been awesome. Yeah, I agree. With those expanded capabilities, it would have been great. And I did like the Moonwalker game a lot. I really thought it was pretty awesome. But yeah, so listen to this. All right, let's go see what presents we have to open here. So Dreams, the a cappella version. Oh, you know what? I may not be able to skip this. Oh, it's not going to let me skip. So we've got to listen to all of this before I can go back. And is it Boys to Men on the credits? Yeah, I don't know. Don't think so, but I get you. I get that vibe for sure. Yeah, but just, you just sit back and go, let that wash over you. Let the awesomeness of Sega's approach to music, storytelling, and just wackiness ensue. And I'll show you some of the gifts that we opened up in this version. What other Christmas-themed games or holiday-themed games do you remember playing? Yes, it is good vibes, right? I've often mentioned my favorite group of all time, the Beastie Boys, in comments as as I've done some of these episodes. And when we talk about their kind of the way they approached music and rap and all that stuff, is they just kind of said, we're just going to do what kind of feels good. We're going to create rap that can be silly and fun instead of some of the stuff that we've heard kind of creep into the genre over time. And they just didn't care, right? They just went out and tried these things. Sega's kind of like the same way. They're kind of that, we don't care. We're Sega. We know what we're doing. And we are going to go ahead and just create these awesome experience and mashup of media and content. It's amazing. Oh, you also said here in the chat, yeah, Home Alone on the Genesis had one, I think. Yeah, Home Alone on the Genesis, good Christmas theme, of course, it's Home Alone, but the gameplay on it just really, it can be obtuse. So I was going to actually fire that one up here, but I kind of decided against it. And since I've been talking so much, we're actually going to be able to complete a full episode just on this one level, because I got a big mouth when it comes to classic video games. All right, produced by Sega. Let's see, did we get to open up any more gifts? We did. All right, let's see what we got here. Nope. That's time. Oh, shoot. Man, that sucks, because now you have to go loop again to go ahead and be able to try again. All right, I'm going to loop one more time to give it a shot. Yeah, I know. That sucks, right?
Your life force is running out.
Yeah, my life force is running out on that. Oh, and even just hearing that Sonic Team and the little ring sound, oh, man, it takes you straight back. So good. So good. What a good way to go into the holiday here. Actually, so I'll show you one of the presents that, early presents that you get to unlock. Well, Claris is one that we had just gotten. Let's see what her museum set of pics looks like. Here we go. Look at these renders. I mean, they were pulling out the stops, right? In 90s era 3D modeling and textures. Now, one of the cool things, we talked about all the different ways that they were making the music or using the theme here. One of them is a karaoke version where it's just going to put up the original songs and start playing a bit of they're going to play a karaoke version. I'm not going to sing for you, but if you want to sing along there in the comfort of your home or your work or wherever, there you go. You can follow along and sing. Yeah. And then they have another version with the vocals intact that are at the end of one of the levels, and we'll go ahead and listen to that too. I mean, how cool is that? A karaoke version of the theme song for you to sing as a gift that opens up in this free game that they gave away to their, to their Sega Saturn fans. So awesome, Sega. So awesome. All right, let's go. Let's do one more run, see if I can unlock another gift or two here. and not hitting Reela. Terrible. Sonic, Sega, and all licenses always had great music and sounds. Oh yeah, they did. Absolutely, they did. Of course, you know, some of the big ones, right, were Sonic CD, Sonic 2, oh my goodness, the Phantasy Star games, you know, they just awesome soundtracks. I mean, they, you know, there's a reason why people say, oh, this feels like a Sega game, right? Because, oh, there we go. We unlocked another citizen of Nightopia. But there's a reason why people say, oh yeah, this feels like a Sega game, because Sega does have a very distinct design aesthetic, gameplay aesthetic, you know, musical language to their games that just make them very unique. And yeah, it's really easy to tell when you're playing a core Sega game, especially like an AM2, you know, game. I think better sounds and music than Disney's on the same system. Yeah, I mean, they're awesome, absolutely fantastic. And with the announcements that Sega just had at the Game Awards of bringing back some of their older games, and I think Crazy Taxi is one of them. Of course, my thing is with Crazy Taxi is the the offspring rather will always be kind of associated with that game for me. Just like, you know, there are some games that Rob Zombie's Dragula and stuff like that are kind of associated with. So, you know, that's one of the things when they played some of these sequels or ports of Crazy Taxi to other platforms, they didn't have the music license, just didn't feel the same, right? Because that's what we first experienced. That's the soundtrack we first experienced for Crazy Taxi. I had the sit-down Crazy Taxi cabinet in the basement of my house, and I had, let's see, a Crazy Taxi sit-down, a Hydro Thunder, and a pole position. But once we redid the base, I'm like, you know what? The kids aren't playing these anymore, and we should probably, you know, make some more room for people to sit down versus being on the cabinet. So it was time to let it go to other people to enjoy in their homes, which I did. Now I have like 4 small main cabinets, some of them that were like arcade one-up cabinets that were modded, except for the Star Wars one, and then an original cab that I built all the way back in 2001 that my kids refused to let me go ahead and get rid of, that just plays a bunch of games. And man, video games are the best. All right, let's see. Oh yeah, there's our ribbon, and then we can have Knights do a bunch of different loops. Can I get a figure 8 in there? Nope, didn't get the figure 8 in there. Let's see, come on. Oh, I missed all that. I missed this one here too. Shoot. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to. I'm going to get an F on this level as well. There are bells to collect. Okay, come on. Let's see. Where are you at? Where are you? Okay, let's find the container. And then get back and select some cards, and then we're going to get out of here for the holiday. This is the last episode of Rewind for the year. You know, we only started kind of picking the channel back up 8 months ago, and just started playing around with a bunch of different formats, including content to help game developers learn how to make games and leverage cloud services in the type of games that they're making. And there's going to be a lot more of that in 2024. Really expert opinions. Oh, I need to get out of that loop. Expert opinions and assistance from AWS, you know, technologists and systems architects to help people figure out how to use, again, the AWS services and infrastructure to build games for a global audience. And so I'm really excited about some of the programming that we have coming up next year, including a podcast that we just started. We decided to go ahead and launch the initial episode as we went to the holiday break. It's called Boss Level, and where I'll have systems architects joining me on each episode of Boss Level to explain how you can, again, build your games for the cloud. Let's see. What's impressive is watching all the background of the NiGHTS games and the miles the characters traveling through. The game is huge. It is. Yeah, it really is huge. And the thing is, right, one of the things, I mean, I get it, right? It's a timed game. But one of the things I don't like about the timed games is I want to go explore, you know, the entirety of the environment. And you don't get to really do that. Which, I mean, look, is actually kind of keeping in line with Sonic games, right? They're timed, but you want to go and explore a lot of the level instead of, as a lot of people think, you know, it's just a push right to get to the end sort of game, which is not true. But it's also not surprising that this is, you know, Yuji Naka doing both NiGHTS and Sonic, that kind of mechanic would be in there, right? Big worlds to explore, but time attacked or time bound. But yeah, let's get to the end here and see if we can open up another gift or two before we get out of here for the holiday. And I'm gonna go home and play more of this with my family. Shoot. Oh, there we go. All right. Woo! All right, got right in there. And let's go ahead and see. Yeah, you know, one of the things that you mentioned was the miles that the character goes through. And at the end, we'll actually be able to see some of those stats. For those of you that have not played this game before, what you have to do in Gullwing is just get up underneath him and push off against his chin, not on his face. Well, you can do that too, but that's dangerous. If he opens his mouth, he gets you. And you want to go ahead and knock out as much of him as you can. Boom, there's another one. And see, yeah. And so it does it, knocks points off. Now you have to make your way all the way back around, and he changes his elevation and his attack. So you want to try to get him when he's low to the ground. I think maybe one more will do it. Oh, dang it. I went into, dang it. I went in too fast there. All right, let's see. Come on, come on. Oh, come on. Oh, my gosh. Shoot, shoot, shoot. There we go. 1, 2 more, maybe. Let's see. His tail gets a little shorter every time, in case you missed that. Every time you hit him, this should be the last one. Yeah, there we go. Yay, we did it. We went ahead and got Gullwing there. And then you can move around the environment and bounce around and flip and spin and do all this stuff. It's pretty cool. All right, let's see if we're going to be able to open some gifts. Yeah, D. Womp womp. Okay, so here we go. So it tells you, you know, what your, what your progression is. And then I think, let me see. Will it also tell me? There we go. So it gives you all of your scores on the different courses that you've done and the high scores for each of those. And here's the lyric version of the song. And what you can do is, let me see, I think, yeah, you can also shut off all of those stats and just watch the gameplay and just listen to the theme song. It just really is a miraculous gift, you know, that they gave to people. And again, it's really trying to flex all of the capabilities and strengths of the Sega Saturn. I mean, it also shows some of the weaknesses, right? You get some drawing that's happening there. You can see everything kind of in the background. You also notice that anything that's transparent is actually dithered. You could do transparencies on the Sega Saturn, right? That is a misunderstood thing that you can't do it. No, you can, but it takes a lot of processing power to do it. You have to know how to use, I believe it's the second Hitachi SH2 in there. And so when you needed that extra processing power for other elements of the game, you dithered instead of creating, you know, an alpha layer there. I don't think a PS1 game can ever be compared to this one. I agree. I agree. I think Nights into Dreams stands alone as a singular experience of its kind, right? It just, it's awesome. Like I said, everything from the music to the graphical treatment to the little Easter eggs that are hidden in there, all the elements happening in the background, unlocking presents, right? The amount of replayability off of a single level game that was given away for free is just, oh my gosh, it's awesome. It's awesome. All right, we're almost at the top of the hour. Let's go ahead and see what gifts we get to open here. All right, all right, Nights, I think Nights is up here. Yes, okay, so we got one present there. Oh, let's see. I think it's here. No, different one. Here, one. Well, no. And so you keep opening these different presents. But let's see what we got by going to the presents there. Yeah, and so I'm going to continue playing this as I go through the holiday here and screen cap some of the stuff, just to see the different, stages and all that other stuff. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, so here is another set of prints for the Nights Museum, or prints. They're not prints, for goodness sake. Renders. So there's Nights. So amazing. What a wonderful design too. This question here, do you think transparency was done on purpose with the RCR10 output in Japan and USA on the Genesis, on Waterfalls and Sonic Shinobi, for example, because in Europe, this effect was on RGB and not the same result? No, I think that the way those transparencies are done, that alpha blending was actually that it had to be done in software. I don't believe it was in hardware, which is also why it took additional processing power to really go and create those transparencies. The PlayStation could do that. It had an alpha channel, so it could go ahead and just do that basically on any game. You just want to use transparencies, you basically lit up the alpha channel for it. With the Saturn, I believe it was a software library that did, so you had to make those choices between. So one way you can do it is you dither, and dithering, right, is basically an opaque graphic or an opaque mesh that sits over, right, an object, and then you basically turn off like every other pixel of it, so that way you can basically see through it. And so it mimics transparency, but it's not really transparent, right? And that's where you get kind of that dot, that pixelated look to it. But yeah, really, really cool. Really cool. So that is Christmas Nights into Dreams on the Sega Saturn. If you own a Sega Saturn or you've not played this before, it is definitely worth your time to go ahead and find a copy of this game. And if you don't have a Sega Saturn, you can go ahead and download this game off of Steam, right? You can download the Nights into Dreams game off of Steam, go buy it there. And I believe that the Christmas Nights is unlockable as you play through it. But that was it. That was a taste of holiday spirit and holiday joy as we head into the end of the year holidays. So with that, as always, please remember, if you are a video game developer of any size, from AAA to indies, make sure you head on over to aws.amazon.com/game tech to discover the products, solutions, and services that we offer to help you on your cloud game development journey. And if you're a beginner looking for a clear starting point to help you build a career or learn to produce games in the AWS cloud, we recommend you start with an AWS learning plan. This set of on-demand courses will increase your knowledge of game servers and game analytics and help grow your technical skills to solve real-world game development, compute, and analytics problems. And you can demonstrate your knowledge to the world by earning digital badges. head on over to aws.training/GameTech to start your AWS for Games learning plan today. And of course, I want to give a special shout out, as always, to Waterflame. And thank you for allowing us to use your music here on Rewind. Make sure you head on over to his YouTube channel at Waterflame Music to check out his incredible work. And lastly, if you care about preserving the history of video games as much as I do, make sure you head on over to the Video Game History Foundation's website at gamehistory.org. They're doing incredible work to preserve the history of our industry for future generations. And as always, I want to thank you for spending your Friday afternoon with me. I hope you all have a safe, healthy, and happy holiday season. And we'll be back in 2024 with all new content to get the new year started right. So again, have a wonderful rest of your day, an awesome weekend, and we'll see you in 2024 on Rewind.